Hi children, I welcome you back to my channel and this is my second class of English. Okay, hope you all are catching up with this new mode of learning. As teachers, this is also new for us, so I can understand what you're going through, but do not worry. Now both of us, you and me, we will all settle down eventually. Okay, so to begin with, let me do a recap. Okay, in the last lesson, I have given you a brief about the basics of English language. Okay, starting from the English alphabet, the 26 letters, then the 5 vowels A, E, I, O, U, then the family words, 3-letter family words, then the 4-letter words, then the how to form a sentence with the correct punctuation marks, and starting it with a capital letter, the pronunciation, how to pronounce a word, how to pronounce a sentence, properly, how to say it with meaning. Then we have also discussed about the parts of speech, starting from nouns, then pronoun, adjective, verb, adverb, preposition, conjunction, and interjection. And we have learned how to study a picture, okay, how to name the things which are drawn. Okay, so that was about our first class. Now I will again do a little brief about what you have learned in class 1. Okay, you already know these things: following instructions, how to write instructions, funny rhymes, reading rhymes, joining in stories, reading to find out, exploring the story, retelling a story and the events, changing the characters and ending of a story, predicting a story, reading and writing a report, how to read an index, days of weeks, number of months, colors, sounds, numbers, the spellings of the number names, common words, and rhyming words. Okay, now we are done with class 1 revision. Okay, from now on we will only do what's there in our book. Okay, of course I'll explain with examples, but class 1 is done. From now we will do the lessons one by one. Okay, so today children will talk about stories about the things we know. Okay, I will talk about a story. The name of the story is A Bad Bag. Okay, so here I will stress on a particular character, that is Sophie. Sophie is the main character in the story. Let's learn how to read a character. Okay, reading a character, it's also called fact file of a character. Here the character we will be talking about is Sophie. Okay, fact file for Sophie. What's her name? I go point by point. Point number 1 or fact number 1, Sophie. Her name is Sophie. Her age is 4 to 5 years old girl. Okay, her birthday is on 25th December. Who's there in her family? Her mom, her dad, and twin brothers, Mark and Matthew. How's her personality like? Okay, how's the character, building up of the character? How is her personality? She's stubborn but funny. She likes to wear a jumper with her name written on it, jeans, red boots, and she likes to keep her hair messy. Okay, open like this. And she is fond of animals, and she wants to be a farmer. When she grows up, she wants to be a farmer. Now these are the points which makes up the fact file for Sophie. Now likewise, think about a fact file for yourself or a friend of you. Okay, and write the fact file covering the headings name, age, birthday, family, personality, likes to wear, likes, and want to be. If it's you, want to be. If it's your friend, wants to be. Okay, write down a fact file, okay, for a character. Now we spoke about Sophie, this character Sophie. I will tell you a story. Before that, some questions. Keep in your mind some questions, and after that we'll go to the story. Okay, in the story you will get to know about events. Okay, so I will start with the questions. Where does Sophie walk along in the beginning of the story? What is about the sunglasses that make it funny? Okay, who is lying on the floor? And what does Sophie and her father decide to play? Which game? Okay, now you don't know the story. These are the questions you keep in your mind. Okay, and then close your eyes and listen to the story. Okay, when it's being read out, note down the answers. When and wherever you find the answers in the story, keep on noting them. Okay, in a group of 2, do it with your friend, this exercise with your friend, so that you can help each other. Okay, now let me come to the story. Now the main story. Okay, here you'll get all your answers. As I said, this is the story of Sophie. This is the story of a bad back. Okay, let's see how it starts. Like, Sophie is roaming in the garden with a pair of goggles which belongs to her mother. It's a very old pair of goggles. Okay, and when she wears them, she looks like a panda. When she has these goggles on, pink flowers seem red, then yellow flowers seem golden, and the cabbages look blue. She keeps walking around in the lawn, and then she reaches the path which leads to her home. When she reaches her home, she peeps inside the window of her dining room. Okay, and what does she see? She sees it's very dark inside, and something like a shadow is lying on the floor. He thinks to herself, what on earth is that? When he walks in, he finds, what does he find there? His dad. This is Sophie's dad, lying on the floor, on the wooden block floor. He's lying down like this. Then Sophie asks, Dad? He said, yes. Are you okay? Dad says, no. What's the matter, Dad? I have a bad back. I have a back which hurts. And Sophie finds his dad lying on the floor, on the wooden floor, gazing at the ceiling. Okay, so Sophie tells him, of course your back would hurt if you keep on lying on the floor like this. Why don't you go and take a rest? If you're feeling tired, why don't you go and take a rest? Then Sophie's dad says, it's not because my back hurts. It's not because that I'm lying on the floor that my back hurts, but it's because my back is hurting. That's why I'm lying on the floor. Okay. Then Sophie quietly, goes to his father, and she also lies down beside her father like this. And then Sophie starts a conversation with her father. Daddy, do you want to play a game? There's no option for Daddy. He's lying down, he's trapped. He says, okay, which one? Then Sophie says, can we play I Spy? Okay. So this is the story. This is the main story. Now here, some questions will be asked after a story, as some questions will be asked, like, whom does the goggles belong to? As we discussed before, why do you think the goggles, what's funny about the goggles? Okay. What are the 2 questions which Sophie asked her dad? Why does she ask this question. Why does she suggests this game, I Spy Your Father? Okay. These are the few questions which will be asked, and you have to read the question, say the answer, and then write them down. Okay. So here you may also play, you know, I spy with my eyes and I hear with my ear. You can play this game with your friends. Now, what are the two settings in the story? What are the two settings in the story? What are the characters in the story? If it's Sophie and her dad, you need to write 3 sentences each. 3 for Sophie and 3 for her father. Okay. Then you will be given pictures. Okay, different pictures on the various settings in the story. Look at them and say where the story ends. Look at the setting and talk about that part of the story. Okay, how the story ends there in that particular part. Also talk about the beginning of the story. Okay. Now, if you go back to phrases from 1 to 4, you will find certain, you know, phrases like, but whatever in the world, I'm not surprised, the hardwood block floor. Then, and stare thoughtfully at the ceiling. You will find phrases like this. Try to explain and use these phrases in sentences of your own. Okay. Now you can also have these pictures in your mind. You can draw these pictures somewhere, or you can simply look at these pictures and retell this story to your friend. Okay. Think about the conversation which goes on between Sophie and her father. Okay. Enact this conversation between yourself and a friend of yours. Choose who wants to be Sophie, who wants to be Sophie's dad. That's up to you. Then start the conversation like, Daddy? Daddy said yes. Sophie says, are you okay? Daddy says no. Then Sophie keeps on asking him, what's wrong, Dad? Then Daddy says, my back hurts. Then Sophie says, I'm not surprised that your back hurts. You're lying on the floor. It would hurt. If you're tired, why don't you go and sleep on the bed? You take rest on the bed. Then father says, answers Sophie's question. It's not because I'm lying on the floor that my back hurts. It's because my back hurts that I'm lying on the floor. Then Sophie says, oh, shall we play a game, Dad? We can play I Spy. You can simply roll your eyes. Okay? You can simply roll your eyes. That won't hurt your back, Dad. Dad, finding no other solution, no other way out, he gives in, he says yes. Okay, so this is the conversation. You can also think about what can happen after the story, after the ending of the story. You can have your own ending for the story. You can imagine things like Sophie can, seeing Dad in that condition, he's trapped, he has nowhere to go, and Sophie is very playful. He's in a mood to play. He can suggest his dad, can we play this? Can we play that? She keeps suggesting so many games. Dad gets irritated, and then the doctor comes in and he asks his dad to keep lying on the floor. Now Sophie takes advantage of the situation and asks his dad more questions. She keeps on suggesting more games. Okay, this is how the ending of the story can be. You can have your own ending. You can write the own ending of the story. That depends upon you, your imagination. Okay. Read stories about Sophie. You can also read stories about the horrible Henry. Okay, so try to rewrite the story and give it your own ending and see how the readers of your story enjoys it. So this was about today's lesson. We learned to write the character file. Okay, why are we learning all this? When you will eventually learn to write a story, and the story is just not just for the sake of saying a story. We do not say a story just for the sake of saying it. We also learn certain things from it, which will help us in the future. the building up of the characters in the story, that is very important. You need to know how the characters are. That gives the life to a story, you know, it brings a story into the life. Who are they? The characters bring life to a story. So the events of the story, you know, you can telling a story from various mind pictures. You can have certain mind pictures when you are writing a story. You can frame your own story, you can frame your own plots, okay. You can think what you can leave you can make the ending of the story an open end, okay. You can keep it as an open end so that the readers can have their own choices of you know, the flow. They can rewrite the story, adding a few more lines to the ending, you know. So we have also learnt about how to you know, read a conversation, how to enact a conversation on your own after reading the story, how to enact a conversation between two people, between two characters in a story. So today's lesson was about enacting a story, reading about the characters as a whole. Now I'll give you a task, okay. I already discussed about this in this video itself. You write down a character file for yourself or a friend of yours, and it should have all these headings: name, age, birthday, family, personality, likes to wear, likes, wants to be, all this, okay. And show me in your class, in the next class, okay. Till then, you keep safe, okay. Study more, play little or more, that depends on you, okay, but keep safe. I'll see you in the next class. Bye bye.